So Ozzy's here with me to go over episode 3 again. The ages are revealed during this episode, and they are officially changing the dynamics. People are second guessing their connections, and we're starting to see the difference between attraction, emotional safety, and what actually works in real life. Mwah. Hi, Ozzy.
Hi, Andrea.
I'm so excited that you're back here with me on From Mrs. to Ms. to talk about Age of Attraction, episode 3 recap. Because we are skimming through these and we're trying to keep track because they do bleed over one into the other, don't they, a lot? And so we're trying not to give too much away before we get to the next episode. But I'm super excited to talk about this one because I really enjoyed this episode, and especially I think my most fun couple. Well, I don't want to ruin it, but it is Wes and Jolene. So we'll get to them in a little while. All right, but what happens when the chemistry is so undeniable, but the age gap starts making the relationship kind of feel impossible? We're going to be talking a lot about that. So Ozzy's here with me to go over episode 3 again. The ages are revealed during this episode, and they are officially changing the dynamics. People are second guessing their connections, and we're starting to see the difference between attraction, emotional safety, and what actually works in real life. So this week, we're going to dive into Vanel and Jorge. Why do I want to call him George? I don't know. We're going to dive into Vanel and Jorge's shocking 27 and 60 age gap that we learned last week. We're going to talk about Vanessa trusting her intuition, which she did last week about Chris, and where she's going this week with a new intro, which is Logan. And we're going to talk about why some of these contestants just seem more addicted to the chemistry than the compatibility. Love that. Mm-hmm. We're also probably talking a little bit more about these butterflies we talked about last week. We're going to talk about love bombing, emotional maturity, and whether age is actually the issue here or if fear of judgment is what is really going on. Okay, so I'm excited to get going. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do
it. Okay, so the episode starts out, we're starting in with Jorge and Vanel right off the bat, talking about the age difference. Remember, she's 27 and he is 60. So right in the beginning of this episode is when he drops the bomb of being 60 and she's holding his hand. I love it. She's looking at him so sweet and lovingly. And then she's like, oh my God.
I thought he was 47.
I love it. And in all fairness, he looks younger. I don't think he looks 60. He looks great. So what did you think? Do you think right off the bat, if you were looking at them, would you see them and go, no, I think they're a really hot couple. He doesn't look 60. She looks older than 27. Is that something you can see matching up?
I could see it, but I think the minute that I found out that he's 60 and she is 27, there's a 33-year age gap.
Huge.
There's something in me that went, oh God.
I know.
When she found out that when she's like, oh, I thought he was 47. Like, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm meant to meet the person that I'm supposed to be with, right? Like she went immediately into this, like, yeah.
Which leads me to believe the whole thing about the chemistry is just, it is over everything else at this point, because she's like, he's fucking hot. I don't even care that he's 60 years old. Yeah. And she has this huge daddy's going to kill me moment because she had this deal with her dad to not go over 10 years, which.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So I think that Jorge stays very calm throughout their conversation about it. He's very confident. He's very reassuring, which is what makes him very attractive. He almost has this daddy vibe for her and keeps her in this calmness, which I'm thinking she's going to find attractive at her age. You're still looking for somebody that is just like your dad. And I think she found him.
I think she did. And I think, this will answer the question that we had last episode when we talked about, do men care more about the age gap than women do? Remember we discussed that?
Yes.
And he was actually worried that if she finds out his age, how she would respond. So there's a part of me that's like, Like, I wonder if maybe he's older than 60 and 60 was just a number he landed on. I don't know. I'm
Oh
just
my God, we might need to research that a little.
controversy.
I don't know how
I
much
don't
older he could be than 60. I don't think he looks, like I said, I guess last week, like 58-ish. So it came in right where I thought. I wouldn't, if he was 65, that would blow my mind. That would blow my mind, I think. I don't think he looks that.
And okay. In her interview after the Promise Room, she says, "I think I'm falling in love with him."
Oh, she did.
And I was just like,
so scary.
Cringe. How are you falling in love? One of the things that I tell all the couples that I'm working with is you just start to get to know someone after 4 seasons.
Yes.
If
absolutely.
you have been with someone for 4 seasons, you just then start to sort of understand them and know them. How are you like falling in love? I don't understand.
know. You know,
Anyway,
I was just being in
that's
this
the age.
niche with From Mrs. to Ms. and talking about love and in love and all of that. It is cringeworthy to me how often people throw that word around and say that they're falling in love. It happens all the time on The Bachelor when we watch that. You know, they're on this show for like a week and they're, you know, they're being swept off their feet, right? They're on helicopters and they're going to these fabulous trips and stuff. And they're just like, oh my God, I'm falling in love. And I have a really hard time with that. To me, there's such a distinction between loving somebody and being in love with somebody. And to say you're falling in love in this particular case, again, we don't know the time frame. This could be a couple days, I'm feeling like. She just finds out his age, and that's where she's like, oh my God, I'm so falling in love. It's just so weird to me. And I just can't help but wonder if she's just caught up in the excitement of it. You're on a TV show. He is attractive. She's like, he's an attorney. That adds another layer. He's so confident. And she's just like, oh, I'm falling in love with him. Weird, 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 weird.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where that goes with them. That they really didn't have too much going on until later in this episode, so we'll get to that a little bit later. So we're going to move on to Derek and Feifer at this point. Okay. This is my least favorite couple, only because I don't feel it. I don't feel the compatibility, the connection, the chemistry, any of it.
Yes, I agree with you. And I was wondering if you caught something she said when they were playing pickleball.
Tell me what.
Did you catch her saying, I thought pickleball was for old people?
Yeah.
I was like, bitch, come on.
Bring in Jorge.
Who are you calling old to play pickleball?
I play pickleball. We're not old. We're not old. I mean, yeah, some older people like it. It's a little softer on the knees maybe than other sports. But I come off of the court like huffing and puffing sometimes, and I'm pretty active. So I don't know about that. So true. And watching back, I wonder if he's like, the girl said, what? You know? So funny. Well, so they're not a connection for me. That's why I love talking about it. I don't see it. Do you?
No. I don't get it. I don't see it. She's awkward around him. He is very into her. That's very evident.
Yes.
But watching her around him, and again, it could just be that she's an introvert. Maybe she's awkward, socially awkward. Like we're gonna factor that in. We'll give some grace.
Yes.
But as a viewer, you kind of feel like I don't get it, right? Is that how you were left to feel?
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't see, you know, when a man, I think she said she's assuming at this point, like he's in his 30s. But I don't know. I just don't feel like that he is looking at her going, this could be my future person, especially when he has kids that are 15 and 5. That just doesn't, you know, I don't think he's looking at her going, oh my God, this could be the future mother of my kids. I just don't see that. Again, I think a little bit of it that's sitting in all of them is the hope of getting to go to the next level in the show, because you get to stay on longer when there is this huge gap discrepancy. We see they're kind of doing away with couples that don't have a big age gap. So if you want to stay in the show, you kind of got to have that. So is that what's drawing them together a little bit more? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, she thought that they had similar life goals and interests, and I kind of didn't buy it. But
Pickleball.
again, right. We don't see everything. So I don't know
Yeah.
what they bonded on or what
Mhm.
like what, but again, her age just keeps showing up to me. Even though she seems a bit more mature, there's still
Yeah.
a very young part about her that seems like she hasn't lived life
Yes.
as much as we thought, but they do have something in common. I think they both were raised by their fathers. So I think they
Mhm.
had that in common. So in that those I think those things, I mean, I guess some people may call that trauma bonding. I don't know. But I think that there's certain things that bond people together,
Right.
history wise. You find that thing because nothing else is matching up. You find that thing and
Absolutely.
you're like, oh my God, this person gets me, right? And we have similar this and
Absolutely.
similar that. So um and yeah, and he thought she had the total package. So
Yeah.
he's really into her.
Very much. That's
Mhm.
what was surprising. And well, we'll just talk about now that they do end up going to the promise room in this episode and
Yep.
they talk to each other. And so the
Mhm.
ages are 23 and 43.
Mhm.
Right? A nice, good 20-year age gap.
Mhm.
That's a lot. 20 years is a lot. And especially when you're dealing with a 23-year-old. So this is actually older than Libby and Andrew, right?
Mhm.
Because they were 23 and 38. So this is even bigger than that
Mhm.
age gap. And I felt more chemistry and connection between Libby and
Them.
Andrew than I do between these two.
Right.
So they do agree to just move forward and they're going to be a couple. And that's all I really want to say about them because I'm not
Mhm.
into it.
And she
I'm
was
not
already
into it.
talking. Oh, you're not into it, but they were already talking about having kids, and she asked him, "Do you want more kids?" And he said, "Yes." And
Yes.
it's like,
Uh,
like
and
get to know
yeah,
each other. But anyway,
get to
again,
know
that
each
shows
other.
her age, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, we're going to move on next to Chris and Leah,
Mm.
right? Okay, so we saw Chris last week. He was my little guy with the cap and the bangs coming out and the
Jersey,
rolled up tank top.
Jersey.
Yeah. So Jersey shirt. So him and Vanessa, she kind of came to her senses, thank God, and was like, okay, this little boy is not for me. So she moved on. We're going to get to her next. But we're going back to Chris and Leah. So now he meets Leah, who she's beautiful, beautiful woman. And they kind of match up and they're having some good conversations and
Mhm.
get to know each other. Next thing you know, he's massaging her in the massage room. And as she says to him, so who have
Who?
you massaged? Who did you massage last? And then they cut to him going, oh my God, I'm trying to avoid this question because I literally was just giving Vanessa a little massage in the pool
Right.
yesterday after our kissy poo.
Right, and I hope she didn't catch that I avoided that question.
Yes. And so he kind of tries to skirt around it. And,
Mhm,
um, again, I feel like, we know he's a little bit of a love bomber real quick. He's moving through the
mhm.
women quickly, trying to find, a good match for him. I'm not really getting a great vibe off of them. I don't know.
And the
Maybe there'll be a little bit more chemistry. I feel like he's just working the room till he finds something that lands long enough to move him forward. Amen.
Agreed, agreed. Moving
Yes.
on,
Moving on.
moving on.
Okay, so
Wes
we're gonna go into Wes and Jolene. Yes?
yes.
Okay. Why don't
Okay.
you do you wanna tell us a little bit about them?
Well, okay, so what do we know about them? We know that he kept last episode, he kept talking about how I'm older than people think I am.
Yes,
And he is
yes.
working really hard and she's not buying it.
Mhm,
And she really cares about how old he is because
mhm.
she's lived her life. She is concerned about the optics and that's
Yes.
the thing. They do go to the promise room, right?
Mhm, mhm. Now
And
she's
in the
been
promise.
divorced and has kids too, and she was the
Mhm.
one last week that was very much like he's like, "Ask me anything you want." She's like, "Well, I can't ask you what I want." And we're like, "The only thing you can come up with is the age. That's it." And
Yeah.
there's other ways to find that out. You can kinda skirt around that somehow and kind of find that out, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And
were
girl,
you in school with the same age as my kids when they were at this age? There's so many different ways you could go about that.
so many.
So many, and he was
But
already kind of pushing for that, you know, last week to move to the promise room real quick,
yes,
right?
because he wanted that out. He wanted to say
Yes.
move on. And well, first of all, can we just say she does like girl got some work done or
Got some work
something
done.
because she, God bless her, she looks young.
She does.
She is a good-looking woman, but again, she lived a life, right?
Yeah,
So
she's had a whole life.
when they're in the promise room, she basically says she's not ready to make a commitment to move in together. She thinks that
Correct.
he's much younger, right? She brings up the age again before they reveal it, right? That she thinks
Yes.
he's much younger and he's got a lot of growing to do, right? So she
Yes.
could tell that he's a little bit immature, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. And I'll
and
say, I just want to add in there that the
yeah,
best line is when he goes, "Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be serious."
right, exactly. And she's
And
like,
then she goes, my point exactly."
right. Right. Like, what do you mean it doesn't have to be serious? What are you on the show for? Right.
What are
Like,
you on the show for? We're talking about the next steps is that they do end up living together. So that's pretty serious. And he's already like, this doesn't have to be serious. Let's just get to the bedroom, is what I'm getting the sense of. Like,
right.
let's get that out of the way. Then we can talk about everything else.
Again, this shows the reason why, right? The
Mm.
age gap matters,
It does. It does. And then I
right?
love when he goes, because they have these rings, remember, that they're supposed to put on each other if they decide that they are going to kind of move forward. And he kind of goes, well, I guess I'm going to put this down.
You guess right, bro. You guess right.
You guessed right. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
she's physically attracted to him, but emotionally, she's like, he is just not there, And I feel like he's just interested in trying to say all of the right things and make
Mhm.
this turn into something, and it's just not there. And so she basically
Oh,
shuts him down, and then they do agree to still say their ages. And at that point, we find out that she is 48, correct?
yeah, I'm not buying it. Okay.
Well, you're going the other way than Jorge. You're thinking Jorge's older and you're thinking she's younger.
No,
Is
I
that
think she's
right?
older.
Oh, you think she's older than 48?
Yes.
Oh, how old do you think
Yes.
she
I
is?
don't know. I think she's older.
Wow. And he is 28.
30.
30,
30.
30, 30. Okay. He is 30.
Yeah.
Okay. So
All
30
right.
and
So
48.
18 years difference.
Mm,
All right.
we've
Doable.
seen worse.
We've seen worse.
Oh, we've seen worse, but she is just not going for it. They're pretty much just done and out on
Yeah.
that point. So we do not see those two again.
Yeah. I mean, I was
Unfortunately.
42 with a 29-year-old. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So who are
Yeah.
you to talk, girl?
Who am I to talk? Who
And
am
that was
I to
probably
talk?
hot. That was really hot. You were good with it. You even got to the point of meeting his parents. So, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No comment.
That's awesome.
I actually really liked his parents. I really liked his family. Yes.
That is great. Okay, so up next, we have where the Vanessa and Logan connection begins. He suddenly enters more prominently into the show during this episode. They start talking. They're really connecting. She's feeling more of a connection with him than she did with Chris. Their
Mhm.
chemistry feels a lot calmer. It feels less performative than it did with Chris. I think they're just kind of getting to know each other. And I like that, they're kind of sweet. And he looks older. So
Mhm.
and she has a younger, more youthful look to her, so I
Yeah.
think they're kind of a good match physically. I think that's
Yeah.
yeah,
He
right?
tell me if you caught this. There's
Mhm.
something about him that was very interesting. Like, he likes to tease. He likes to, like,
He's a
just,
tease. Yes.
but tease in a way that's like, he likes to blow things up or to point
Yes.
something out and, like, and be controversial or
Mhm.
polarizing a little bit. I don't know. That's the sense that I got from him. But um
Yes.
he and Vanessa shared that she's been single for 4 years
Yes.
and that she's had
Yes.
toxic relationships. And then she
Yes.
talked about how many times she was engaged. Do
And
you
how many
remember?
is that, Oz?
4. I think she
I
first
said
said
3
3.
and I'm 4.
Well, first she said 3, and then she's like, "Actually, yeah, 4. I was engaged 4 times."
Yes, that's why I went 3, 4.
Girl,
I'm like,
hopefully there's some therapy in between.
yeah, and that's
Uh,
interesting. I kind of find that interesting that she's even a contestant that they brought on the show. With having gone through that so many times, it just gives a different vibe to it, like that she doesn't quite know what she wants. She's not secure in who she is and doesn't know what she's looking for. And so she's kind of grasping on to whatever she can find. That's how
but
I got.
I think if she'd followed her trend and her patterns, she would have ended up with Chris, right?
Yes.
And so this tells me that perhaps she's done some work on finding herself and finding out why it is that she is attracting toxic men. I mean, how many of us
Yeah.
have attracted toxicity, right?
Oh my God. Every day.
Toxic relationships, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe that there's toxic relationships. I really truly believe that we have toxic patterns,
Oh yeah. I agree
right?
with that.
So
I agree with that.
maybe
We
she's
look for the same thing too.
correct, because our brain is looking for consistency,
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that we just find ourselves attracting to the same
certainty.
person. Yes, because it does give us that certainty, the comfortability, and we feel like, okay, this feels normal to me. So again, it can go back to the butterflies where we think it feels like something that is normal, but that should be a warning sign, and we need to change up that pattern, that toxic pattern, and
Mhm,
not necessarily the person. It's where you're finding yourself with the same person over and over again, meaning not physically, but the way they are.
mhm,
So same pattern. Yeah, interesting.
mhm.
Okay. Well, so we learn a little bit about them. They do
Oh,
go to, yeah.
hold on. Did she say she also revealed that she had a kid? She had a daughter
Yes. Yes, she
when she
did.
was
So that's
18.
interesting. Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. And we find out when they go to the promise room that their ages are, let me see, she is 49.
Wait, she's 49 and he is 29.
29. So
Yeah.
again, a 20-year age gap. Again, I think she looks a little younger. He looks a little older. I wouldn't be so thrown off seeing them. I wouldn't.
No.
And
Mm-mm.
actually, when I was watching it with somebody who hadn't watched the show, they were like, oh, they kind of look like they're around the same, anyways.
Yeah,
So I don't think that's so scary. Yeah.
mhm,
It'll just be interesting to see how he is emotionally, because that's
mhm,
where you tend to see that age difference, right?
mhm.
So I'm kind of rooting for them. I'm not
I
against that one.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that one. Okay, so then what I love is at the end of the show. So now we have all of these couples. They've gone to the promise room. They've exposed their ages. They've decided they want to move forward or they don't. We've weeded out Wes and Jolene, and we are pretty much left with Jorge and Vanel. At this point, we have Teresa and John, who we know their age
Mhm.
difference. We have Chris and Leah. We have Vanessa and Logan, and we have Derek and Feifer. And of course, we have Andrew and Libby that they bring back from last week. Those
Mhm.
are our couples moving forward, right?
Yes. Can I add
Yes.
one thing that I think we missed, that I think
Please.
is would be good to talk about?
Yeah.
Because we talked about Vanessa being sort of on an era where she's noticing patterns,
Hmm.
and there was something that she felt. Do you remember the moment where she thought that, she said it was a red flag that she was flagging for herself with Logan?
Hmm.
Do you remember what that was about?
No, I don't recall that. Tell me.
He said there's obviously a visible age gap. So he calls out the age gap. And I think this again speaks to how like he just says things, right?
Yes. No
He
filter.
just calls things out. And she took that as an insult.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then
Would
started
you?
if somebody says there's a visible age gap, yeah, probably I don't know if I would think it was an insult. I probably would be like, I don't know if
Hmm.
it's a red flag for me.
Yeah. I don't think it's a
Would that
red
be a red flag for
flag.
you?
I don't think it's a red flag. I think it's just obvious, right? But that's also obvious to us that he does see her as a lot older, without even maybe knowing her age. Whereas I was just saying they're not that far apart, but he obviously doesn't see it that way, right?
He doesn't see it that way. And he also said that people who are older bring more to the relationship, which
Hmm.
is honest, right? It's
Truth.
true.
That's why
There's
a lot of
nothing wrong with
times
that.
younger wants to date older because they do
Right.
bring those qualities.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think he realized he said something and they worked it out. They repaired it. So that was
Yeah.
good. Anyway, back to the
uh,
part where they're all together.
Yes, so they
This
bring
is
them
where
all
it starts to get good.
together. I know, I love this. So they kind of bring them all together. And my first thought is, of course, we see because we have Chris and Leah, and we also have Vanessa and Logan, obviously, right? Who Chris and Vanessa had their little massage and their kiss in the pool and stuff. So that kind of brought up a little bit of a dynamic. Leah did not know that Chris and Vanessa had had a kiss. So this is mentioned during a foursome conversation. between Vanessa and Logan and Chris and Leah. And I think this is where I agree with you on things uh, that Logan just kind of says. He goes, "Oh, I heard it was like you guys were making out or like," and they're all like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding." It felt, a little immature to say, but also just who he is. He just kind of likes to drop in that shock moment, throw a grenade and turn around. And so then Chris was like, "Well, there was no tongue or anything involved." And then they cut to the little clip of their kiss. So I thought that was really funny. And honestly, I felt like Leah felt a little bothered by it. I don't know. Would you be bothered by that? I'm going to just jump in there, but right before I ask you that question, say I probably would be acting the way Leah did because he didn't say anything to her. He didn't tell her that they
Yep.
had already kind of had a little moment. You have to assume that there are going to be a lot of moments. That's what the show is. You're kind of getting to know each other and exploring. But I would have been a little bothered because he didn't say anything. And when she goes back and watches it, she's going to see that he gave her the massage and he didn't answer that question truthfully either.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct.
So
He's an avoidant for sure.
Yes. Yes, for
For
sure.
sure. He does not like conflict. So he hides it. And she's gonna smell it a mile away. I mean, come on.
She is. Again, a lot of the qualities between older and younger, right? Like the older is going to be
Correct.
like, just put it out there, say what it is. So I thought that was really funny, but I do like that they're progressing each in their own little individual relationship. So I think that's really cute. And then they talk about Andrew and Libby, how he told Libby about his kids. And I love how, somebody's like, "So when did you tell her that you had kids?" And he's like, and I love the honesty. He's like, "I lead with that. If they are such an important part of my life that the person who I'm talking to that I have any interest in needs to know that right off the bat, because that is a huge part of my life." That's where one of the guys goes, "So, well, Jorge, when did you tell Vanel that you have kids?" Surprise. I didn't. He says it so nonchalantly. He's just like, "Oh, yeah, I haven't yet." And then he goes on and just starts chatting. And you're like, "What?" And then they start cutting back and forth between the girls talking and the guys talking, and him saying, "No, I haven't told her that I have 2 kids yet because we were just talking about the relationship. We hadn't gotten to that part yet. I didn't feel like it was the right time to say it." Totally opposite of what Andrew just said.
Correct. Correct. And also he was justifying it by saying that, well, she was okay with my age, so we got over that hurdle. And so I thought, yeah, but that's an important piece that anybody would want to know before they make a promise or commitment to you, right? Like there's no way that would be, in my mind, there was no way that would be okay with me, that someone just omitted that piece of information. So obviously we'll see what happens with them in the next episode and how that plays out.
Now, would you put a little bit of that on her for not asking? I'd 100% have asked that up front. Like if we're going, "Dude, you're 60. Have you had kids? Have you been married?" None of that.
Yes,
She didn't ask any of that.
But you and I would know that, right?
We
Because
would know
at our
that.
age, we would know that those are things that are important for us to know. But I think at a younger age, you're looking at other factors, right? And the one factor that takes over is the chemistry, right? So if you have chemistry, you are not thinking of the day-to-day. You're thinking of,
Tattoos.
wow, I am really into this person, the way this person is making me feel. I am drawn to them. I am right. It's this pull that you have, and nothing else matters, right? Nothing else is factored in. And so even her dad's request to not date anyone 10 years older than her, right? That what goes out the window. So the idea of her not asking that doesn't surprise me based on the age.
Absolutely. Agreed. So then I found it even more funny because when they're cutting to the girls and then Libby goes, "Oh my God, Vanel, we didn't even ask you. Does Jorge have kids?" And she goes, "No, he doesn't."
That, by the way, when I first watched that, it confused me because I was like, "Wait, what? What, did I miss something here?" I had to rewatch that part because I for sure thought, "Oh, maybe he doesn't have kids." I thought I heard, anyway, it was very confusing how the whole thing went about. And you know what? I have to say, like, I would kind of be annoyed at the editing because why would you make her look like, I mean, to me, that's just making her look bad. I
It
don't know. Like
is.
I
It
know it
is.
brings an affect of shock value, right? Like
Yeah.
that sells. But n- I just I don't know.
I agree because Libby does say, and has he been married? And she's like, no, I don't think he has. And then she
Mhm.
said, we talked about, having kids. He doesn't want to have kids outside of marriage. And so then you're like, whoa, like this is crazy. This is crazy. He's 60. Is he having kids still? I mean, let's think about that one. You know what I mean? She's 27. Obviously, I'm assuming she's going to want kids. So this is a huge, huge thing that is just, it's like a bomb that has just been dropped because now he has kids and she doesn't know he has kids and she's thinking he doesn't want kids till they're married. And they're all like, oh my God, that's so sweet, right? Their reaction. And we're just, as viewers, going,
We're like,
oh boy, the shit's about
it's
to hit the
coming.
fan.
It's coming.
Yeah, I thought that was a great drop-off ending, how they're just like, "Okay, let's wait to see how that is all gonna play out." Very,
Mhm,
very
mhm.
interesting. So, I thought it was a great episode, how they kind of brought everybody together in the end. We now know who we're moving forward with, what couples are gonna be in the next few episodes. So, that makes it, really easier for us to focus in on each couple and really see what they bring to the table and where this is gonna go. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, but who's
Very
your
good.
favorite couple from this week?
From this week, yeah, I'm glad you said from this week because I still love Teresa and John as kind of my favorite up to this point. But this week, um, I actually enjoyed a little bit more with probably Vanessa and Logan. I think is my most interesting one because I do feel a chemistry with them. I feel some sort of bond. I think that they're kind of growing, getting to know each other, even though there is this 20-year age gap. So I like them, but I do also like Jorge and Vanel. I like the storyline of that one. I just find it very intriguing because he is so much older. Like we're talking 32 years difference. They have the biggest age difference thus far.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
scary. That's
Yeah.
scary
Who's your
'cause
favorite?
I think that at this point I am intrigued by Logan and Vanessa, although Vanessa
Mm-hmm.
did say that she noticed that all the other couples were more affectionate than her and Logan, but
Huge.
maybe that's because they were late to the game with each other,
Yeah.
so I'm curious to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
And of course we only saw Teresa and John one time, one
Yep.
moment where she said that she is really was enjoying being in this bubble with
Mm-hmm.
John, and so she's a little hesitant to kind of come out of that bubble
Yeah.
and start to live their life, but
Yeah.
um I think at that point when I first watched it I was still very intrigued by them as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I
So
don't know
it'll
why
be
Libby and Andrew still give me the I don't know, just because she's so young
she's
and
so
Pfeiffer too.
young.
Ugh.
I know, I know. Well, we're parents, right? We're moms, so we know. Like, I have a 23-year-old. You have young kids as well, and they're low 20s, right? Like, I think that if Grant, I don't know, if he came home with like a 49-year-old girl or guy, I don't know, I'd be like, what the fuck? Nope, turn around, out you go. I would. It's just
Yeah,
so
what would you
huge.
do?
I don't know. Isn't that a great thought? Because we're right in that phase right now. I don't think I would like that. My
I
son
mean,
dating somebody the same age as me? No,
I
I can't.
when I was 42, I was dating when I was dating the 29-year-old, I certainly was really conscious of that question. I was like, would
Very
I
much.
allow my kids to date someone like me? I mean, yeah, I'm fabulous, but
You are. We know.
and I look younger, but
You do.
nonetheless, like if I knew that my son is dating someone with kids as old as mine were at the time, I think I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what I would do. I mean, obviously I would ask a lot of questions, but I would also just trust that he's making his own decisions
Yeah.
but I would have a tough time. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, it will be very exciting, interesting to see how this all plays out as we go into episode 4. We'll be back with our next recap on episode 4 and see where all these couples are going because now they're going to the stage of they are going to be living together. So that's very, I'm not sure. They don't even go on like well, I guess they're technically on a trip now. I was going to say they don't really actually go to a next phase where they go on a trip somewhere like some of the other shows, but this one they just move in.
They just move in.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's very,
Insane.
very sad. Insane.
But I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, and I'm super excited to talk about next week.
I am too. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for episode 3 recap of Age of Attraction. We are really having fun going through this show. It's very exciting, and who knows who Ozzy's next man could be? It could be a 29-year-old rolling in here again. We don't know. We don't know.
Oh, wait, Andrea.
Yes.
Can we discuss something before we leave?
Please.
Tell me you have started watching Off Campus on Prime, on Amazon Prime.
Off Campus? What is this?
Okay. Speaking of young, they know
She's watching a college show right now.
They know exactly what demographic they're hitting when they're putting on these steamy shows with.
Is it a reality?
Nope. Hot hockey players and like way too young for my eyes, but can't peel myself away from the show. Please tell me you're going to watch it, and please tell me we're going to discuss it, because I was at a friend's house yesterday and I could not wait to come home and finish watching the show because it is steamy as all can be. And
I'll be honest, I didn't know what you were going to say there when you said I couldn't wait to come home and
that too. But yeah, like they know that it hits us, us midlife ladies in the right place.
Good stuff. It's good stuff.
You're like, listen, the storyline. The storyline. Who cares about the storyline at this point? Like this. But come on. Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you, show gods. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for giving us a show to just die over. Okay.
I love it. All right. We'll have to get to that one next. Well, if you guys are enjoying watching, please make sure you go back and watch recaps of episode 1 and 2. And we will have 4 for you on the next one. So that's pretty exciting. If you are looking to follow us, we're at from.mrs.to.ms. That's the number 2. That's on Instagram, TikTok, and full video up on YouTube at From Mrs. to Ms. You can find Ozzy at I Am Ozzy Osbourne. That's without a U in there. It's just OSBORNE. So go check her out as well. And we will see you guys next week. Let us know what you're thinking. If you're enjoying it, drop us a line. We'd love to know. All right, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.